champions, and welcome to this special science video for Tuesday, September 29th. In this video, we're going to be examining sound and how it applies to real-life application. And so in this video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be demonstrating 5 different instruments for you, and we're going to examine how the sound works with these instruments. All 5 of these instruments that I will be showing in this video are all stringed instruments. It means that they make sound with strings. So if I put my guitar up closer, you might see these strings. And if I pluck it or disturb the string, then you'll hear a sound. So the 5 instruments that we'll be going over in this video is the electric guitar, the electric bass, the mandolin, the viola, and the ukulele. So 5 different instruments, and each one I'm just going to do a quick little demo. I'm not the world's greatest musician. I just enjoy collecting the instruments. And afterwards, you'll have a few questions about each instrument, talking about the volume or the pitch of the talking about the volume or the pitch of the instrument. So, starting off with our electric guitar, we have the head, we have the neck, and we have the body. All along the neck, these shiny bits that are reflecting light off of the screen, those are called frets. The higher up the neck, if I press down on the fret, the lower the pitch. If I move my fingers down the fret to a lower fret, I get a higher pitch. And the reason that is because the closer my hands are to the body of the guitar, the higher the pitch will be. So, on my guitar, I've got electric pickups. These electric pickups have magnets that read any vibrations coming from the strings. And then they transfer that electric current through my instrument cable all the way to my amp back here. And my amp back here is plugged into the wall, and it transfers electric energy from the wall outlet to the amp, takes the vibrations picked up from the pickups to generate sound. And with my amp, it can make a whole bunch of different sounds, but we don't have time in the world for all that, so I've just set it to sounds that sound good. So we've gone over that the higher up, the closer my hand is to the body, the higher the pitch will be. But this guitar also has 6 strings, and if I go from the top, we have a low pitch till we get to that high pitch at the end. So when I play my top string, my low E, it's a low pitch, okay? It has a slower frequency, less waves in between. When I get to my high string, my high E, that has a much faster frequency, okay? Now, frequency is what changes the pitch from the high to the low, okay? So frequency changes the pitch from high to low. The faster the waves are moving, the higher the pitch it is. The longer in between each wave, the lower the sound. Now, the amplifier adds amplification to the volume or the intensity of the sound. So if I play my note right here, it's pretty loud. However, if on my amp I change the volume on my amp, I change my volume and turn. My volume is impacting the height of each wave. The taller each wave is, the louder or more intense it is. The smaller the wave is, the lower the volume, the quieter it is. Till you can't hear it except for just the string, okay? So I'm gonna play just a short something on my guitar. Again, I'm not the world's best guitar player, but I want you to think about this instrument compared to the other 4 instruments that I'll share, and the volume, pitch, or different things you notice about this guitar compared to the other instruments. Alright, so that's the electric guitar. What are your initial thoughts about that? What are the pitches you notice about this? And we're going to compare that to 4 other instruments, starting with the bass guitar. Alright, now in my hands I have the bass guitar. The bass guitar has a longer neck. It means my hands have to stretch further out to reach my higher frets. The bass guitar also uses a different amplifier. It's not plugged into this one back here, it's plugged into one off camera that allows for it to produce a louder, richer sound in the bass. And when I talk about bass, I'm talking about low notes. But same with the guitar. The further down the neck it is, the higher the pitch is. Or the further up, the lower the pitch is. So comparing this bass guitar to the previous electric guitar, what do you notice about the pitch of it? Also on this, I can increase the volume. And I don't know if you heard that or not, but if I play this too loud, it shakes the walls of my house, and my neighbors next door aren't big fans of that. But what does this instrument have that the previous instruments or the forthcoming instruments don't? And when I play the low notes, are those higher frequencies or lower frequencies? Not even sure if you can hear that, so I'm going to turn that up. Alright, so that's it for the bass guitar. Now we're moving on to the mandolin. Alright, so now we're on to the third instrument. This is smaller than the guitar and bass. I can pretty much reach the whole neck with just one hand. I don't have to move it up or down. Now on this mandolin there are 8 strings that are probably terribly out of tune, to which I apologize. But thinking before I begin, what do you think more strings might mean for the instrument. The guitar had 6, the bass had 4, now we're up to 8 on the mandolin. What do you think a shorter neck might do to the instrument? Would it be higher pitched or lower pitched? Now, my mandolin is also not electric. There is no cable to this. The sound is produced by the reverberations inside the body of the mandolin, and after it reverberates, shakes around in there, it escapes the 2 F holes here to produce the sound. So I'm going to play a few notes. I'm not going to call it a song, and I'm sorry if it's out of tune. It's been a while since I played this. Terribly out of tune. I do apologize for that. But based off of that horrible playing, do you think that it is higher pitched or lower pitched than the guitar or the bass? And what do you think about the sound not being amplified out of the electric amplifier? Okay. For our next instrument, we're going to move on to the viola. Alright, so the next instrument I have is the viola. It's another stringed instrument. This one has 3 strings on it. Should have 4, but I broke a string and haven't felt confident with myself to replace the string on this just yet. So the viola is more in the classical family of stringed instruments. You see it if you've ever listened to Beethoven or Mozart. It belongs with the violin, the cello, and the bass. Now, you could pluck these very loose strings that are also out of tune. You can tell which instruments I play more based off of how they're in tune. But traditionally, this is played with a bow. This bow drags across the strings. I have horrible form on this, and I'm sorry if this is... It's been so long since I played this, I've misplaced my rosin, which would make the bow sound better on here. But the upper strings I've got here have a nice low pitch, and the lower string has a nice screechy higher pitched sound. With a true violist, they would do wonders with this instrument, and I'm terribly jealous of them. This one mainly just hangs out on my wall to look cool with the other instruments, but I'm not very good at it. But thinking of the viola, how is this instrument different from the mandolin, the bass, or the electric guitar that we've already seen? And what makes it unique compared to others? Does it have a low pitch or a high pitch? I'm sorry if that sounds horrible. We're on to our 5th and final instrument for this video. The last instrument that I'm going to showcase poorly is the ukulele. So let's transition to the ukulele now. Alright, in my hands we have our 5th and final instrument for this sound lab. This is a ukulele. You'll notice that it may look like a guitar, but it's a lot shorter. Again, with the mandolin, I can stretch the whole neck with one hand. It's only got 4 strings, so will it be as low pitched as the bass or will it be high-pitched because it is smaller? I'm not quite sure if this one's in tune. I do play with it slightly more than the mandolin and the viola, but I didn't have time to tune before I said, hey, I'm gonna start making this video. So, without further ado, we've got the ukulele. Think about the ukulele and what makes it unique. What does its pitch sound like? Does Mr. Chambers sound better on the ukulele than any of the other instruments? Who knows? But let's see. Not in tune. It's also been a while since I played this. I like my guitar the best. I play that the most. But what do we know about the ukulele from Mr. Chambers playing? Now I do apologize that we weren't able to do this lab. Usually when I do the sound lab, it's every one of you gets to go around the room, play my different instruments. Hopefully in the future, once we can get back to school, I can arrange for us to do that sound lab. But for right now, I want your thoughts on the 5 instruments I've shared to answer the questions in the Google form for our Tuesday activity. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully I didn't hurt your eardrums too much by my horrible playing and not tuning my instruments beforehand. I hope you stay awesome, and I will talk to you real soon.